Sometimes life pauses you in a way you didn't plan for. In my case, it came through a moment where breath really felt uncertain, fragile even. That moment stripped away the illusion that I was in control. And it took me time to realize something simple, yet profound. Every breath I take is borrowed, and every heartbeat is granted, not guaranteed. When I look back, especially now in my later years, I see how that moment became a fulcrum, became a turning point. It felt like a hardship at first, but it was a doorway, a moment of awakening. You don't always realize you are being guided while the journey is happening. It becomes clearer only when you're on the other side, looking back at the path you have taken. And this reminds me of Surah Taha. There's something deeply comforting about how Allah guided Nabi Musa alayhi salam, not through comfort, but through challenge. Musa stood alone in the valley, unsure, searching, carrying fear and uncertainty. Yet that was the moment Allah called him, not when he was strong or triumphant, but when life had humbled him and softened the heart. In Surah Taha, Musa asks, Rabbi Shrah Sadri, expand my chest, O Lord, make my path easy. I found myself making a similar dua in my own way, without realizing it. When breath becomes precious, when time feels limited and fleeting, you begin to ask for clarity. Not for more years, not for more wealth, not for more applause, but just plain clarity, a purpose, and a heart that remains steady. I reached a point where I sincerely understood that guidance isn't a burden. It is pure mercy. Just as Surah Taha begins by reminding our beloved Prophet that revelation wasn't sent to distress him, I realized the tests in my own life weren't there to break me. They were there to wake me, to realign my path, to pull me back to where I actually needed to be. There were years where I drifted, chasing the world like many of us do. And just like Nabi Adam alayhi salam, he stumbled and returned in the surah. I too had begun to return, to remember, to realign my compass. That is part of the human journey. Falling isn't failure when the heart rises with sincerity. The magicians in Surah Taha, men of pride and status, fell in sujood when truth reached them. That moment always touched me because it tells us that when the heart truly sees, surrender becomes only natural. My journey was quieter, not in a palace court, but in the silent chamber of my own chest. Yet the essence is the same. When truth arrived, when it reached me, I could no longer walk in the same direction. Today, as I hold my grandchildren in my arms and breathe longer between thoughts, I know one thing clearly. We are all walking back to Allah. Some of us realize it early, some later. But if He loves you, He brings you back. Sometimes gently, sometimes through a storm, but always with His wisdom. Borrowed breaths was my way of recording that awakening. Surah Taha reminds me that this path has been walked before by people even far greater than myself. We don't mimic their steps. We look at the shape of their journey and we take heart. Guidance is real, renewal is real. And every breath is an opportunity, a chance to return. May Allah grant us hearts like Musa alayhi salam, soft, sincere, and courageous in our return to Him.